Welcome to the latest Tofurkey Thanksgiving edition of the New Haven Independent Vlog News Summary, direct from our assignment desk, otherwise known as my compost heap. Let's see what stories we're working on. Well, the big thing we're all working on is cooking Thanksgiving dinner. I got my go-to recipe book, Isha Chandra Moskowitz Eats It Does It Vegan Cooking. And there's some good recipes in here. Let me see. Here's one. How to screw up and spoil elections year after year. Well, I'm not cooking that one, but it appears the State Elections Enforcement Commission, SEC, has been cooking with that recipe year after year. This will give you an example. While we're preparing our Thanksgiving dinner, Joe Ganim is preparing to be sworn in as mayor again in Bridgeport on December 1st. He's doing that even though he didn't win the election. This is like a banana republic. A judge overthrew his primary victory because for the third straight time, Joe Ganim, who was in prison, came back, became mayor again, lost the vote at the polls, but won with a huge number of absentee ballots that it turns out were allegedly fraudulently collected. Now, the SEC knew Ganim was doing this 4 years ago. It said, hey, this person, you're carrying buckets of harvested absentee ballots illegally to the polls. That's no good. But the SEC has such toothless enforcement that they wait until after an election if you do things wrong. So the election goes through anyway when you cheat. And then they just tap you on the wrist. So 4 years later, that same woman working for Ganim was caught on video allegedly doing the same thing that caused the judge to stop the primary. But because the SEC gave such a toothless response to it last time, it just keeps going and going and going. They need a new recipe this Thanksgiving. Well, what could be better for a Thanksgiving table than wild turkey bourbon? And this is the kind of years we see the wild turkeys going around, confused about where to walk in our streets. And it's also time a lot of New Haven voters, citizens are looking around, wondering the right street to turn down because we make it so confusing often about where to vote in elections. In the primaries, Laura Gillespie reported that we had this year, primary election, the alders, our board of alders, illegally put early into effect new ward maps they had drawn to gerrymander in their own interests. So people are confused about where to vote. Then in the general election, as Tom Breen is reporting this week, for a totally different reason, a computer snafu, a bunch of voters weren't sure where their right district was. They got the wrong information. Now we're always confused because the way we even draw maps in New Haven out of self-interested gerrymandering is that on even number years, people go to different spots from their odd number years because we don't draw districts that make sense where to vote, that the state legislators on even number years want to go one way so they can keep their jobs, whereas alders want to go somewhere else so they can keep their jobs. They don't think about the voters. In that recipe book, there's some good recipes I saw with butternut squash for the season for Thanksgiving. We'll obviously be making with kale and lentils, and then a soup with carrots. And thanks to Loaves and Fishes, the homeless drop-in breakfast place on Olive Street, they made sure 700 people who might not have eaten it all this Thanksgiving got Thanksgiving meals with bags of carrots and turkeys. They're one of a whole bunch of groups in New Haven, civic organizations that give out turkeys so that all of us can eat, especially at the time of rising homelessness and food insecurity. Way to go. That's what Thanksgiving is about. So for us, we usually go with the Tofurkey brand vegan turkey. This year we're trying out Gardein. I think it was a little cheaper. We'll tell you if it's any good. But the big thing is what we're thankful for, and I'm thankful for so much. I'm thankful for my loving family I get to share the holiday with. I'm thankful every day I get to work with such an amazing staff, the New Haven Independent, La Voz Hispana, WNHH Radio, Independent Review Crew, Valley Independent. I'm so thankful for people who read the Independent, who give us story ideas, who support us financially. And I'm thankful even for the Tofurkeys in elected positions who act like turkeys and give us so much to write about. Until next time, this is the Independent Vlog News Summary, and remember, always pick up your trash.